Morning, guys. Liz Detterer here, out on my morning walk on the beach. Low tide. Love it here. Don't mind my hair sticking up underneath my little ear thingy. So today's Teaching Tuesday is brought to you by the letters WTF. No, just kidding. So I wanted to talk about today upper limit or capacity crisis. So you may or may not be familiar with the book The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. In the book, he talks about this concept of the upper limit problem. My hair is really special today in this direction. Let's go this way. There we go. Priorities. So in the book, The Big Leap, he talks about the upper limit, which, in essence, it basically says that when we start to feel too good, we start to experience joy, we start to see too many successes in our life, we will, morning Robin, we will at some level stretch this upper limit. We push the upper limit and we reach this kind of internal thermometer, this internal set point that basically says, whoop, it's getting too hot in here, it's getting too hot in here, time to turn things down, and that's where we inevitably self-sabotage. So basically what he's talking about, and hold on, I'm pulling a Michael Jackson, I have one glove on and it's bothering me, or an OJ, whichever way you want to look at it. So, hey, hands-free. So basically he talks about that there's this upper limit thing, basically like an internal thermometer where we can only, we move up so much, and then we start to feel too much joy. So we come in, and that's where languaging and phrasing like, the other shoe is going to drop, waiting for the other shoe to drop, or even so subconsciously, when we're talking about joy in our lives, we always throw in a yeah, but, oh, you got this new job. Yeah, but, I was a shoo-in from the onset. Like, write out your joy, right? So I've been really noticing this upper limit thing within my life hard. And then no coincidence, my bestie and I are reading the same. We both come to each other in our daily morning phone calls. And she's like, oh my God, I'm reading this great book it talks about. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like The Big Leap. I'm reading that too. We were like at the same page for page, which is hilarious. So that's the upper limit kind of situation. But here's I have to really, as like a super Aquarius, I have to really get in my head and unpack everything, to the nth. And I've been having a challenge with really wrapping my brain around the upper limit as a problem because, first of all, I'm afraid of heights. It's a very real thing. So I'm talking about the upper limit, and I'm like, obviously, I'm not going up that high because I'm afraid of heights. So I had to flip it on its side. If anyone's ever heard me talk about boundaries, I did the same thing with boundaries. Actually, I did the opposite with boundaries. But boundaries, a lot of people talk about boundaries, and then we'll get back to the upper limit. A lot of people talk about boundaries and they're like, oh, it's this iron gate that comes in between us. And, it's a line in the sand and you can't cross it. I can't cross it. This is my boundary. But the way I look at boundaries, I had to actually flip that one to the vertical versus the horizontal to say, actually, boundaries is more like a ladder. Boundaries to me are that, I'm a couple rungs up, again, not too high because I'm afraid of heights, but I'm a couple rungs up and my whole world is up here with me. My family, Lily, that's it. And that's kind of where we're sitting, is a few rungs up on the ladder. And then the boundary says, you're absolutely more than welcome to come play with us up on this ladder a couple rungs up. But the boundary says, if I lean over and I bend down to pick you up, I jeopardize the integrity of this entire structure that I built. And it's doing a disservice to those who are up here with me. So my boundary is that, yes, you can come play with me, but you need to come forward and you need to take a couple steps up. And then I'm more than happy to extend my hand out to pull you up. But yeah, my boundary is that I'm not going to bend over and jeopardize the integrity of the whole structure. So that's kind of flipping from a horizontal to a vertical. And then with capacity and upper limits, I'm really teasing out this idea that yes, we have an upper limit problem where we start to feel joy. We start to acknowledge that we're succeeding, that we've had an accomplishment. I've done this. It is so cyclical. And I especially this whole year in review recap, I've really noticed it strong that it's really been a cyclical thing where I upper limit and then I self-sabotage hard. So noticing that, I'm really exploring it deep to get under the hood to understand, okay, I'm aware of it. That's great and wonderful. But as G.I. Joe says, children of the 80s and 90s, knowing is only half the battle. So I know that that's the problem. Now I have to get under the hood to kind of unpack why is that happening, and then secondarily and kind of concurrently, how do I break myself out of this pattern. So this is where I started toying with the concept of capacity. So instead of looking at it as an upper limit, an internal glass ceiling, what if we flipped it on its side, because it's a vertical and I'm afraid of heights. And if I'm looking at an upper limit as kind of I want to keep breaking through it, that like literally my palms start sweating. I'm like, that's too high, that's too high. And I'm sure on, somebody else might be watching this and drop in the comments like, Liz, that's self-sabotage, and you're probably right, but I have to deal with things as I have to deal with them, right? We all have our own process. So the way, hi, you're probably down that way, Eileen, because I'm out on Long Island Sound right now. So I think you're down that way. So I'm waving to you in the background. So looking at the capacity problem, it kind of looks at it more from like I can look at this in the kitchen like a Tupperware kind of a thing, right? So I've currently been operating within like a Pyrex bowl, and I start to grow too big, and then I reach the sides of the container and I'm like, oh, gotta, getting too big for my britches, gotta shrink it back in. And I'm very consciously aware of that. So what if I move to a bigger container? And I have to stretch both sides of that. So this is where what really spawned the idea for this impromptu little TED Talk this morning is if we are exploring the upper limit and expanding our capacity for joy, the equal and opposite must also be true. That in order to expand the capacity, we must also explore our ability to process pain and fear. And we are in a society of numbing and escapism. And the second that we start to feel bad, and this is really prevalent also with love, but with honesty, tough love, within the coaching industry, and especially within the spiritual realm, surface spiritual. When you get deeper, they go right into pain. But surface spiritual, like feel good style, it's like, no, just be positive. Just like drink the green juice, say the mantra, like feel better about yourself. Bullshit. Feel the pain. Go all the way deep into the pain. Like I started crying on my walk this morning. I'm going through some shit, guys. I'm a human, right? Things aren't as freaking fabulous as they always seem. So I start crying on my walk today, and then I was like, tough it up, you're a tough bitch, you got this. And then I was like, nope, feel the pain, feel the tears, wipe them away because it's cold, but feel the tears, right? Feel all the everything, feel all the feels. If we're going to expand and stretch our upper limit, the equal and opposite has to be true. But like from a vertical pain, and you'll talk yourself out of it to feel good, you will start to, I'm getting a connection issue, so I hope it's okay. I'm going to start walking back. So you'll start to feel pain, and you'll start to talk yourself back into, nope, I got to feel good. I'm a tough ass bitch. I can do this. Be positive. Bitches get shit done, and, winners don't quit on themselves, and yay, Beyonce, part of the beehive, right? But I challenge you on that. Like, how much of that is the equal and opposite of denying yourself pleasure as well? Because if you can't feel all the feels, you can't feel all the feels, right? So catch yourself at the upper limit, the one end of, oh, I'm back. Good. Yeah, I hit a little hiccup there. So let me go back to what I was saying. Thank you, Eileen. Because I'm out on the water and we don't have good service here. So I was talking about, and I'm not sure how much is going to come up in the live, but maybe I'll do a follow-up on this if when I go back to the replay, I was missing some parts. But, if we're looking at expanding our capacity for joy, we also, the equal and opposite has to be true, that we have to catch ourselves when we're denying ourselves the experience of pain and hurt and all those uncomfortable things. We have to look at it and say, I'm having a bad day. Nope, pull yourself together. I'm a badass bitch. I can get this done. No, feel the feels. Feel all the feels. Feel the bad. Let yourself go full on ugly cry. So many of us that are here following me, we work from home. Just like sidestep your calendar if you can. Jump in the shower, blast it hot, and just go full on ugly cry. Come out, redo your makeup, and move on with your day, right? If that's what you need to do. Or if you need to, whatever, like feel all the feels. But you cannot deny yourself that pain experience and equally think that you're going to be able to sustain an extent of pleasure, because it's a capacity issue that you have to stretch your container of feelings for both pleasure and pain. And you cannot do one without the other because that denies like every law within the universe. So I just encourage you to noodle this concept and think of it not an upper limit that we only get to work on the positive and stop your self-sabotage and, all this other stuff, but equally acknowledge when you're in the pits of pain, how much are you allowing yourself to really go deep and really feel the feels and really get angry and let all of that toxicity and rage out of your body and feel everything and write the letters and do the journaling and hold on to it. Don't send it. Don't ever send it. But write everything out and get the words out and feel the feels and do the ugly cry and go for a drive alone, blasting the music and scream at the top of your lungs. Like, guys, I have some experience in this department if you couldn't tell. Like, get it all out, feel everything to the depths that you're like, I got every last bit of it out, like go all the way there. Then permission to move forward is like, then you're good, right? But like, you can't, I'm going to be gross here, guys, but we've all been here. As much as you want to stop throwing up, midway throwing up, you can't. But like emotionally, we deny ourselves that. So that's stretching your capacity, because when you can go to the depths of the pain, you've now said to yourself, I can hold that emotional yoga pose for some time. I can now also, using the same skills of going all in, incrementally feeling all the feels, I can now also feel all the feels in the good way. So that's that, right? Okay, good. I'm not the only one that does the scream therapy. Thank you, Eileen, for not making me feel like a lunatic. Good. I got to go, guys, because I'm running out of battery and my fingertips are cold. But thank you for tuning in, and I'll go back and catch the replay. And if I feel like I need to do an update, I will. But really want to hear your comments, your insights on this. If you've read the book, what might I be missing, or what are your thoughts on upper limit versus capacity? So love you guys. Have a fabulous day. Bye.